Hello, my name is Shatoria Monroe, and I am presenting my Math All Around Us Learning Center. Okay, so for evidence, with getting to know my students, I will start by doing a brief survey or like an icebreaker activity, so that I can understand my students' interests, and gain some prior knowledge of their mathematical standings. But it also helps me just get to know them. It could include like questions about like their favorite subjects, hobbies, any areas in math they find challenging or enjoyable, just some information about them that can help me. A couple of things that I like to do is where you put items in a bag and the student pulls out the item and they share different things that are associated with that item. I think that is an awesome way of getting to know your students, by having them just bringing about 3 or 4 items and doing that. Also, another activity that I like to do is where it's kind of like where you get to know who's in the classroom. It's a paper that has different things on it. Like it may say, I've traveled to South Carolina, or I have a big family, or I am the only child. And it has different questions on it, and they go to a person or they find a person that has whatever is on that in that box or that block, and they write their name in it, and that's how they also can get to know each other, and we can get to know them as students. For standard alignments, aligning the lesson with like relevant educational standards, such as like their Common Core, state standards for mathematics. For example, like if the lesson focuses on geometry, it would align with the certain standard that it goes with. If it is with like adding and subtracting, it will be on that standard. So that's what I would make sure with the standard alignments, just making sure that I'm following the standards for what I am teaching my students in our state. So I would definitely make sure that that is done. Cultural relevance, to incorporate examples and contexts that are culturally relevant to the students. I know with Clinton City Schools where I work at, we have a lot of Hispanic students. Most of our things in our math books are filled with Hispanic culture. So I have noticed that because it is a growing population that is in our city or in Clinton City Schools. And so we actually incorporate a lot of things that deal with Hispanic culture in our math books because it is more relatable to the people who are now in our classroom. So just making sure that it is culturally inviting in your classroom, making sure that they feel like they are a part of the classroom. They feel like they can be connected to you. Hands-on mathematical activities. Design a hands-on activity where students can apply mathematical concepts in a practical way. For example, you could create a scavenger hunt, where students may have to classify shapes on angles in the classroom and the environment. What is shaped like a triangle? What is shaped like a square? Can you find something in the class that reminds you of that shape? So those are different things that you can do as far as hands-on activities. Just making it relatable to the student, putting them in centers, letting them build things with like blocks, or using blocks, using charts, using expo markers, using little whiteboards. Students love those things. Chips, anything that they can use, that they can touch, they love it. So those are always good things to do with your students. Use those hands-on things in the classroom. For rigor and innovation, I want to share that activity challenges my students and encourages critical thinking, introducing technology to them with like digital models, and encouraging my students to explain, rather than just receiving and gaining an answer. Just making them think, use their mind, use their brains to think harder. Um, and in the classroom, not just giving them the basic skills, but giving them the skills to advance. And the last thing, of course, is assessment. Just being able to assess my students' understanding through both formative and summative assessments. Formative assessments, they can include like observations and questionings during the activity, while summative assessments can involve a quiz or a reflective writing assignment where students can kind of describe what they are learning and how they apply the mathematical concepts in the activity. So that's definitely how you can use and present like math all around, especially to create that learning center for your students. Because when you have all of those things, you'll definitely have a growing classroom when it comes to learning, and a strong foundation for your students.